Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Israel Wake Up. This is our Women's Advanced Bible Study Night, the 7th of August, 2025. We'll be reading out of the book of Jasher, chapter 3. We're going to read that chapter and break it down. Okay. Go to our YouTube channel, the Israel Wake Up. Check out our videos. We have over 100 or so videos that you can look at, examine, and get the meat out. These are videos will lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. If you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. We have our Cash App at the bottom of the screen for those that want to support the channel, help it move along. That too will be greatly appreciated. For those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. The Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by our Savior, our Redeemer, and our Deliverer, the Lord of hosts. This channel was created to aid and assist Hebrew women who are waking up to their true identity and understanding who their Savior truly is. Shalom and welcome to the channel, and welcome to our Women's Advanced Bible Study. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, Psalms. We have our Women's Health Moment with Michelle, and current events, need to know information. We'll open it up for anybody with any questions, comments, dialogue, or any testimonies. Okay, then we go into our topic for discussion, which is the Supreme Court just issued a unanimous decision, 9-1, changing the Second Amendment. So we're going to look at that, get some feedback from it. And like I said, our scripture reading will be out of the book of Jasher, chapter 3. We're going to break that down. Then we'll pick a scripture like we normally do, read it, and break it down, and then we'll close out. Okay? This moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts, and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay? Oh Lord, we come this day praising thee and worshiping thee for thy might and thy power and thy great understanding. Oh Lord, the end times that you have foretold are upon us. There is great confusion among your inheritance, O Lord, and now that you are awakening them. And for I know that your hand is sure and your hand is firm. Oh Lord, we need you so very much in these latter days, and we will tarry and depend upon you, oh Lord, because there is none else besides you. You are our deliverer, our Savior, and our Redeemer. Peace be unto you. Okay. We read the Psalms. Okay. 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 I'm going to read Psalm 9. Psalm of David. I will praise thee, O Lord, with my whole heart, and I will show forth all thy marvelous works. And I will be glad and rejoice in thee. I will sing praise to thy name, O thou most high. When my enemies are turned back, they shall fall and perish at thy presence. For thou hast maintained my right and my cause. Thou savior, thou settest in the throne judging right. Thou hast rebuked the heathen. Thou hast destroyed the wicked. Thou hast put out their name forever and ever. O thy enemies' destruction are come to a perpetual end, and thou hast destroyed cities. The memorial is perished with them, but the Lord shall endure forever. He hath prepared his throne for judgment, and he shall judge the world in righteousness, and he shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness. The Lord also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in the time of trouble. And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee. For thou, O Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. Sing praises to the Lord, which dwelleth in Zion. Declare among the people his doings. When he maketh inquisition for blood, he remembereth them, or he forgetteth not the cry of the humble. Have mercy upon me, O Lord. Consider my trouble, which I suffer of them that hate me. Thou that liftest me up from the gates of death, that I may show forth all thy praises in the gates of the doors of Zion, and I will rejoice in thy salvation. The heathens are sunk down in the pit that they made, in the net which they hid in their own foot, or their own foot taken. The Lord is known by the judgment which he executes. The wicked is snared in the works of his hands. His Halligan, can't say that word, Selah, the wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forgot God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten. The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. Arise, O Lord, let not man prevail. Let the heathens be judged in thy sight. Put them in fear, O Lord, that the nations may know themselves to be for men. Selah. That was Psalm 9. Anybody got any comments on that?
Shalom, everyone. In verse 16, could you go over that again, please?
Well, it says, the Lord is known by his judgments, which he executed. The wicked is snared in the works of his own hands. Hedgelin Selah. So it's like I keep saying over and over again, this is how you know, rightly divide if it's the Lord or not, because of what he done in the past, he doing now. He changed now. So he says in this verse, the Lord is known by his judgments. So we know that he turned the nations in against each other. When you see that, you know that's him. He
Thank
turned
you.
lepers. He changed lepers. You know, when you see that, that's him.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? So with that being said, we're gonna go to our women's health moment and with Michelle.
Yes, sir. Shalom, Brother Leonard. Shalom, everyone. Please note that the information that is shared is intended for general, informational, and educational purposes only and is not medical advice or recommended treatment. Tonight's discussion is on excessive digestive energy. Excessive digestive energy refers to the situation where the body uses a huge amount of its available energy to process and digest food, potentially leading to fatigue and reduced energy for other bodily functions. Digestion is a complex and energy demanding process, that breaks down food into nutrients and the body can absorb and utilize. The body allocates energy to various functions such as tissue repair, immune responses, brain function, and physical movement. Digestion alone can require a significant portion of your body's energy, especially after consuming large or difficult to digest meals. Here are some reasons why digestion can use excessive energy. It can use excessive energy when you consume large or heavy meals, hard to digest foods, overcooked foods, processed foods, or certain animal proteins can be difficult to break down, increasing the energy required by digestive enzymes or organs. Digestive inefficiency or disorders. Conditions like irritable bowel syndromes or gut inflammation can impair digestion, forcing the body to expend more energy trying to process food, thereby leading to fatigue. Imbalanced gut microbiome. An unhealthy balance of gut bacteria can reduce nutrient extraction and increase inflammation, causing the body to use more energy on digestion or immune responses. When the body consumes excessive energy for digestion, less energy remains for mental focus, physical activity, in other bodily systems. This can lead to the feeling of chronic fatigue. Tips to manage excessive digestive energy use. Eat smaller, balanced meals with easy to digest foods like raw or lightly cooked vegetables and lean proteins. Avoid overprocessed and overly large meals. Support gut health with a fiber-rich diet, probiotics, and adequate hydration. Manage stress as it influences gut function and energy balance. In summary, excessive digestive energy refers to a situation where digestion requires a disproportionately high amount of the body's energy resources, thereby reducing overall energy levels and contributing to fatigue. Optimizing your diet and digestive health can help reduce excessive energy use and improve your vitality. I will be reading from the book of Joshua, chapter 23, verses 6 and 7. Keep God's law. Be ye therefore very courageous, be ye therefore very courageous to keep and do all that is written in the book of the law of Moses, that ye turn not aside therefrom to the right hand or to the left. 7. That ye come not among these nations, these that remain among you, neither make mention of the name of their gods, nor cause to swear by them, neither serve them, nor bow yourselves unto them. Tonight's discussion was on, excessive digestive energy, and I read from the book of Joshua, chapter 23, verses 6 and 7. Keep God's law. Shalom, everyone.
Okay, appreciate that information. With that being said, we're going to go to our current events, and we'll play them as usual, and then we'll break them down. So I've been shining the light on the fact that in Ezekiel 38, how the Most High says He's going to put hooks in God and their God, and He's going to bring them to where He wants them at. And we see how all over Africa, Most High is exposing these minerals in large numbers, and that's what's bringing these people, the world back around to where He wanted them to be at. They happen where He wanted them at. So here we go with another one right here.
Has adequate deposits of coltan. And for those of us who are not technical, coltan is a mineral which is responsible for your communication gadgets, the cameras you're using, the phones you're using, the laptops, and any other communication material. Coltan is a key mineral that facilitates those particular gadgets.
So you think this is an accident? In this time, day and time where we at, with cell phones and all this stuff, they just found $7 trillion worth of coltan in Kenya, in Africa.
Shocking discovery beneath Kenya's soil has the world watching. A massive reserve of coltan, the mineral powering your phone, your laptop, and the entire digital age. Could this black gold launch Kenya into a new era of wealth and power? Or will it trigger a global scramble? Let's dive in. But what if this incredible discovery isn't a blessing, but a curse in disguise? What if the story of prosperity, repeated by politicians and hopeful headlines, is just a cover for a new, smarter chapter of foreign exploitation? What if this mountain of black gold is destined to leave behind nothing but poisoned land, broken promises, and communities that are poorer than when they started? The story of resource wealth in Africa is too often written in blood, sweat, and tears. It's a story of plunder, not prosperity.
Okay.
And as the world's powers turn their hungry eyes toward Kenya's newfound treasure, the patterns of the past are emerging with chilling clarity. Today, we expose how foreign powers are already positioning themselves to loot Kenya's future. We'll unravel the blueprint for the theft, a plan perfected over decades in the ravaged hills of the Congo. And we'll ask the most important question of all: can Kenya break the coltan curse before it consumes another African nation? The announcement, when it came in early 2024, was electrifying. After extensive surveys, Kenya's Minister for Mining, Salim Mvurya, confirmed the presence of coltan, not just trace amounts, but deposits spread across 6 counties, including Embu, Samburu, and Turkana. Suddenly, Kenya was on the global mining map. But it's important to be clear, the government is still assessing if these deposits are actually economically viable. The full scope isn't known yet, but the potential has put everyone on notice. So, what is coltan anyway? Its full name is columbite tantalite, a dull black metallic ore. But when you process it, you extract 2 critical elements, niobium and, most importantly, tantalum. Tantalum is a miracle metal. It's highly resistant to heat and corrosion, and it has a unique ability to store and release an electrical charge. This makes it essential for the tiny...
sound like unobtainium to me from the movie Avatar.
high-performance capacitors that are the beating heart of modern electronics. The smartphone in your pocket. It works because of tantalum capacitors. The laptop on your desk, the data centers that run the internet, and the advanced electronics in cars, cameras, and gaming consoles all rely on this mineral. And as the world pivots towards green energy, the demand for the components that use it is set to explode. The sophisticated electronics that manage power in electric vehicles, for instance, are major consumers of coltan-derived parts. The economic promise for Kenya is, on paper, staggering. The mining sector currently contributes less than 1% of the nation's GDP, but with a major mineral find, some projections suggest that could surge to 10%. With the global price of coltan fluctuating wildly, sometimes around $48 per kilogram, but recently soaring as high as $70 depending on quality and conflict, the numbers can quickly become dizzying. The government has been quick to paint a utopian picture. Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya spoke of attracting investors, creating jobs, and invigorating the entire mining sector for the benefit of all Kenyans. For a nation grappling with economic challenges, it sounded like a winning lottery ticket, a promise of a new dawn. But for those who have watched this story unfold elsewhere, the familiar talk sounds less like a promise and more like a warning. It's the same rhetoric that has echoed across the continent for generations, often just before the shovels of foreign companies hit the ground, and the wealth begins to flow, not into communities, but out of the country forever, to venture into mining business. The stage is being set for a bidding war, and in such wars, the prize is often the resource itself, with the well-being of the local population becoming collateral damage.
Okay, any feedback on that? Anybody hear anything about this?
Shalom. I have heard it, but they're saying black gold is actually looking like it's actually black, or they call it coltan, but is it actually solid black, like coal?
Black. It's a metal, like coal. It's like it looked like coal, but it's an alloy, like. But yeah, like he said, they get two different metals out of it once they break it down, and that's what they use in cell phones and all this stuff.
So they're saying it's like a curse, meaning that the people will start fighting over it, and is like fighting over it or something. I mean, I'm trying to visualize how they're doing it. Is in a mine, or where, is in a cave, or where is it?
In the ground. It's in the ground, like they gold and all the other metals that's over now. And then the thing about it is, they talking from a non-Hebrew perspective, but we know that the host is using it in these last days. Like I said, it's not a coincidence that this is coming up, and it's the very thing that they need to power electric cars, cell phones, and all that. So it can't be a coincidence. Like we just read in the scriptures, in the Psalms, he said, we know it's Yah by his judgments. By the things he do, we know it's him. So this can't be nobody else but him. Okay?
Yes, shalom. So
Right.
if Do you think that since Russia is bringing all this military people over there, would they go to Kenya to say that they're going to help, they're like guard it or something? And really, because I think Russia's got some underlying, um, you know, thing about them bringing all their military people over. So I don't know. What do you
But
think?
it's a collaboration with China and Russia. But those people empower themselves. I mean, if you're paying attention, they empower themselves. So they're not just doing like they did in the past. These people are standing up. So yeah, that's what all the drama is all about, because America lost its hold. The West and lost its hold on us. They rising. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Here we go right here. So we talked about what's going on. We see we're gonna talk about that a little later on, but everything is in hyper speed right now. So we at the door. When you're looking at the evidence, looking at what's happening, we right at the door. And because of that, we're supposed to be expecting the powers to be to start making their moves. So check this out.
What if we told you that a bold handshake between Burkina Faso's revolutionary leader Ibrahim Traoré and the Turkish government could change the entire future of Africa? Yes, not just Burkina Faso, not just West Africa, the entire African continent. Because in a deal that's already sending shockwaves through global media and Western intelligence circles, Ibrahim Traoré has just signed a multi-billion-dollar agreement with Turkey that could shake the foundation of foreign control in Africa and ignite an industrial, agricultural, and military revolution from the Sahel to the Sahara. Factories, arms production, housing, textiles, solar energy.
So, like I said, you can identify who's behind this by the actions. So we see what they're doing over here, taking away all the jobs, all the black jobs. But here go the other jobs right here. These are the jobs that where we going right here. So
all built.
These people got to be shaking their boots.
Powered and manufactured with Turkish technology right here in Africa. This is not fiction. This is not speculation. This is a Free Vibe News. And in today's deep dive, we unpack what this deal really means, what Turkey stands to gain.
This is why they calling us home. To fill this up, to fill this void, all these jobs.
And why Ibrahim Traoré is becoming one of the most fearless African leaders of the 21st century. So stay with us, because what you're about to hear is history in the making. Before we explore the groundbreaking deal between Burkina Faso and Turkey, let's talk about the man behind the vision, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. In the Western media, Traoré is often portrayed as a military hardliner or a radical. But in the streets of Ouagadougou, in the villages of the Sahel, and across much of Africa, he's seen as a hero, a young revolutionary fighting for dignity, sovereignty, and economic independence. At just 34 years old, Traoré is the youngest head of state in Africa, but don't let his age fool you. His vision is one of the most strategic and unapologetically African seen in decades. From the moment he seized power in 2022, his priorities were crystal clear: end Burkina Faso's reliance on France and other former colonial powers, put Burkina resources back into Burkina hands, revive local industries and agriculture, forge new international alliances based on mutual respect. He rejected the model of aid dependency. Instead, he embraced a Pan-African vision that seeks partnerships, not patronage. And in Turkey, he found an ally that is equally bold and ready to work outside the influence of Western powers. The signed agreement between Burkina Faso and Turkey is not a single project. It is a strategic package that spans 6 key sectors, each one designed to radically change how the country operates. Let's break it down. Burkina Faso will now host a joint military production facility. The deal includes a drone assembly plant modeled after Turkey's world-renowned Bayraktar TB2 drones, a light armored vehicle factory where Burkina engineers will be trained to build and maintain advanced defense equipment. A Turkish...
So it's the same way we left the South and went to the North behind these manufacturing jobs. Here we go again, right here. Now we're going to leave here to go over there.
Military advisory mission, which will provide training to local forces in counter-terrorism and strategic defense. This move is not just about weapons, it's about sovereignty. For years, Burkina Faso relied on foreign troops. Now, it's building the capacity to defend itself. Burkina Faso grows cotton, lots of it. But most of it was exported raw. That ends now. 3 major textile plants will be built in Koudougou, Bobo-Dioulasso, and Ouagadougou. These factories will convert raw cotton into high-quality textiles, boosting exports and creating over 10,000 jobs. Young Burkina will be trained in textile design, industrial sewing, and export logistics. This not only adds value to local crops, it places Burkina Faso on the map as a textile exporter. Housing has long been a crisis in Burkina Faso. The deal brings in Toki, Turkey's government-backed construction firm. 30,000 affordable housing units will be built over 5 years. Local cement, sand, and labor will be used, meaning 60% of the investment stays within Burkina Faso. A job boom in construction is already being felt in the capital. These homes won't be luxury apartments. They'll be solid, accessible, and dignified homes for working-class families. Turkey is supplying tractors, plows, seeders, and irrigation systems. Training centers for farmers in Dedigu and Fotnagoma. And for Turkey, it gains access to untapped markets and natural resources. Strategic influence in a region increasingly breaking away from Western dominance. A role in shaping the next wave of African industrialization. The global reaction has been swift and tense. Western media outlets have described the Turkey-Burkina Faso deal as a growing threat to European influence in the Sahel, a concerning military realignment in West Africa, an authoritarian tilt in African politics. But behind the headlines, there's genuine panic. Afrique5 News has learned from regional sources that 3 Western embassies have dispatched special envoys to neighboring countries to monitor the Turkey situation. France has quietly increased surveillance flights over Burkina Faso. US diplomats have reportedly contacted ICAO's leaders to raise concerns about non-traditional alliances. Turkey.
Okay. Any feedback on that? Okay. So with that being said, so like I said before, they cutting jobs over here and making jobs over there. Okay. And so this is why everything is happening the way it is right here. Here we go. I don't know if anybody aware of this. I've been trying to shine a light on it. Okay, here we go. If this ain't your cue, something wrong.
48 hours of opening online applications for the United Africa Passport, also known as the United States of Africa Passport. Over 500,000 African Americans had submitted their requests. The official Burkina Faso government website crashed under the immense pressure, and technical teams scrambled to restore access. Across the internet, the story exploded. TikTokers, influencers, and journalists began calling it
same way they left the South and went to the North. And that new one is fun.
The greatest reverse migration in modern history. President Ibrahim Traoré, who first announced the Pan-African Initiative earlier this year, addressed the nation in a calm but deeply emotional speech. I am overwhelmed. I am humbled. And I am proud not just for Africa, but for our brothers and sisters abroad who never forgot us, he said. He continued, to every African American who applied, to every son and daughter of the diaspora who believes in a united Africa, thank you. Your courage has given us purpose. From New York to Georgia, Chicago to Compton, long forgotten conversations about African identity have returned. Elders cried. Young people rushed to post their ancestry test results. Entire families prepared documentation. But Traoré had to intervene. Please do not make any travel arrangements for now, he pleaded. Our offices are not yet ready to receive these numbers. We are working to expand capacity, and we will notify everyone via official channels. Burkina Faso's main passport office, previously handling national IDs and regional travel documents, is now at the center of global attention. What was once a modest building is now symbolically the gateway to a new Africa.
So let this permeate while you're listening to it.
Meanwhile, President Traoré has instructed his government to prioritize African American applications as a top-level priority and has assigned a special diaspora processing committee to fast-track the most urgent and verifiable cases. But behind the scenes, something even more dramatic was unfolding in Washington, D.C. President Donald Trump, now serving his second term, picked up the phone. He called Ibrahim Traoré directly. "Stop this," Trump reportedly said. "You're pulling too many of our people. If this continues, it's going to collapse our workforce. The American economy cannot survive a mass exodus of African Americans. Do you understand?" Traoré didn't flinch. He listened, thanked Trump for his concern, and hung up. The African dream has begun, and it's gaining speed faster than anyone predicted. But as the demand skyrockets and the world watches, what will happen next? The pressure is mounting, and the world is watching closely. After more than 500,000 African Americans applied for the United Africa passport in less than 48 hours, a silent alarm went off inside the White House. President Donald Trump made a second call this time, not to talk, but to warn. Sources close to the Burkina Faso presidency confirmed that Trump told Ibrahim Traoré, "This is becoming a national security issue. If you don't slow this down, we'll have no choice but to take diplomatic measures." But Traoré, calm as always, didn't raise his voice. Instead, he gave a powerful response that is now going viral across Africa and the diaspora. "Our people have waited for centuries. You cannot ask us to pause history because it inconveniences your balance sheets. Africa is rising, and the world must accept it." The call reportedly ended in silence. Traoré had said enough. And while pressure grows behind closed doors, outside, the streets of Ouagadougou are filled with dancing, singing, and celebration. The vision of a United States of Africa is no longer a dream. It's a process, a movement, a return. Diaspora organizations in Jamaica, Haiti, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, St. Lucia, and the Bahamas have begun creating help desks and educational programs to help their citizens prepare their documentation and ancestry proof. In New York, over 100 community centers have opened pop-up information booths with banners reading, "Return home, rebuild Africa." One elderly woman from Atlanta, Georgia, was filmed crying as she stood in line at an event in Harlem. "My great-grandmother was born into chains," she whispered, holding her application. "She dreamed of Africa every day. Today, I make her dream come true." At the same time, inside Burkina Faso, Traoré's administration is racing against time to build a digital infrastructure powerful enough to handle the wave of applicants. "We will streamline the process for every African American," the Minister of Digital Transformation said. "We are creating a new online portal. You will not be forgotten. Your application will be processed." But the demand is not just coming from the diaspora. Africans across the continent from Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Senegal, Cameroon, Kenya, Uganda, and Egypt are demanding access too. The idea of one Africa, one passport, one economy is spreading like wildfire. Local leaders, inspired by Traoré, have started adopting similar frameworks for future collaboration. But the United Africa Passport remains at the center of the revolution, a simple document that carries generations of pain, pride, and purpose. And yet, the Western world is not celebrating. Multiple European analysts and American politicians are now calling the passport exclusionary and dangerously symbolic. Some believe it's a rejection of global equality. Others call it a tool for African supremacy. Traoré addressed these criticisms with clarity and fire. "They called our ancestors savages. They colonized our land. They stole our people."
You can get this fixed now and pay later. You can get this.
Okay. Any feedback so far?
Shalom, everyone. Yes, like we was talking last night, I had a feeling that Trump would want to stop people, African Americans, from trying to get a passport to go back to Africa where their ancestors are buried and living. Um, but I know he won't be able to do so, but he did make that statement.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone. All praises to the Lord of hosts. Trump can do whatever he wants to do, but whatever the Lord of hosts has said he's gonna do, he's gonna do. And when it's time for us to go, it's nothing he can do or no one else can do. So Isaiah 55 is I want to read a couple of verses out of that. An everlasting covenant, Brother Leonard. And it says, verse 11, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. 12, for ye shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace. The mountains and the hills shall break forth before you into singing, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands. So again, all praises to the Lord of hosts.
Okay. Anybody else got anything? Put a little more of this.
It was not politics, but healing. Kim Jong-un, often portrayed as cold and calculated, was said to have paused and choked up. My people have faced isolation. Yours have faced erasure, Traoré told him. We know what it means to be cut off from the world, but we also know the power of standing tall again. The conversation ended with an agreement. North Korea will recognize the United Africa Passport, making it one of the few documents in history accepted by both East and West. Following this, Russia and China issued early diplomatic statements, signaling their respect for the African Union's initiative, though they stopped short of confirming full visa-free acceptance for now. Inside the UN chambers, murmurs are growing. The African Union has requested an emergency session, demanding that the United Africa Passport be recognized as a legal travel document globally. Meanwhile, European and American officials are whispering terms like passport apartheid, reverse exclusion, global imbalance. One senior EU diplomat complained off the record. This passport gives access to over 100 nations. What other group on earth can claim that purely based on race and heritage? It's dangerous. But Ibrahim Traoré isn't flinching. He went live on national television with a direct message to the West. You told us we were stateless. You told us we had no future. Now that we are building our own doors, you're afraid of the key? He clarified that the United Africa Passport is not based on race, but on ancestral ties to Africa, something long ignored by colonial empires. The world took Africans. Now Africa is taking them back, not in chains, but in love, as Traoré's voice echoed across homes from Accra to Chicago. Global analysts started referring to this moment as the diplomatic reversal of the century. The African continent, once treated as a passive subject of foreign diplomacy, is now calling the shots, setting terms, forming alliances, and building global bridges on its own terms. And the power behind it all? One small passport. But this is no ordinary passport. The United Africa Passport is backed by the combined GDP of 54 African nations, control over 70% of the world's cobalt, 30% of global gold reserves, a population projected to reach 2.5 billion by 2050. No Western bloc has that level of potential. And with this, a new question is emerging in diplomatic circles. Is this passport the beginning of a new world currency? Although Traoré has not confirmed any currency decisions, he hinted at it. One economy, one system, one people. What comes next is only natural. In the streets of Port-au-Prince, Kingston, Detroit, and Dakar murals are being painted of Traoré with the words, the one who reopened the door. African Americans, Jamaicans, Haitians, and Brazilians are sharing their DNA results online, celebrating finally knowing their tribe, their nation, and their African origin. But even as the movement grows, so does the pushback. President Donald Trump has escalated his concerns, now pressuring key African leaders not to accept the passport too quickly, warning them of global destabilization and loss of Western funding. Reports claim he sent private envoys to Ghana, Nigeria, and Kenya, offering aid packages in exchange for slowing the passport rollout. Yet, no African country has backed down. Instead, the African Union is planning a continental celebration to mark the 1 millionth application received from the diaspora. A woman from New Orleans, whose DNA traced back to the Wolof people of Senegal, is expected to be honored live on TV. The world is watching. The glow of international headlines hailing the United Africa passport as a miracle document had barely faded when a new storm began to brew, this time from within Africa itself. Amid global praise and emotional scenes of African Americans crying with joy as they received their welcome letters, whispers began circulating in government circles across the continent. What if our enemies are using this door too? President Ibrahim Traoré, known for his clarity and honesty, addressed the concern directly in a nationwide broadcast, streamed across African Union platforms and social media.
Okay. On June 16, 1940,
at the Pan-African Monument in Ouagadougou, the setting sun casting long shadows, and said in his signature calm but commanding voice, "Let me be very clear, Africa has a big heart, but she also has strong walls. This passport is for our people, not our predators." The message was unmistakable. As applications soared, now reportedly exceeding 1,500,000, with more than 600,000 from African Americans alone, so too did concerns about false claims, identity manipulation, and covert infiltration by foreign agents. In response, Traoré announced 4 new emergency protocols, DNA-verified lineage checks. All diaspora applicants will undergo DNA confirmation to validate ancestral ties to the continent. Face-to-face homeland interviews. Each applicant must complete an in-person interview with African immigration authorities before final approval. Pan-African Intelligence Network, PAIN, a newly formed intelligence task force across 12 African nations, built to detect and counteract infiltration attempts from non-African actors posing as diaspora applicants. Temporary suspension of automatic approval. To protect the system, Traoré ordered a brief halt to the automatic issuance of passports until the verification systems are fully upgraded. This move drew criticism from some Western media outlets, who called it a xenophobic screening process. But Traoré fired back. For 400 years, no one verified who was stealing our people. Now that we are verifying who returns, they say it's unfair? Let me say this to the world. Africa is not a hotel. We are a homeland. We welcome our family, not tourists pretending to be relatives. Crowds across Africa erupted in applause. In Ghana, Senegal, and South Africa, young people gathered for impromptu rallies, holding signs that read, "Protect the passport, protect the future. No spies, no lies, only blood and roots. We're not."
Okay, it don't get no bigger than that. Everybody good on that? Anybody got the feedback? Okay, so with that being said, I'm gonna open it up. If you want to watch this whole video, it's Millions Apply. African American Crash, the website for Abraham Tory's United African Passport. Okay, I'm gonna open it up for some questions. Any questions, comments, dialogue, testimonies? Anybody got anything they want to share with the channel, with the class?
Shalom, everyone. Brother Leonard, I would like to share a couple of things that I ran across this week in my searching of the crazy things that they do here in America, right? So the first one that I ran across is happening in Florida that I read about. And I mean, it could be happening in other places, but they were saying that this was really big in Miami in the hotel industry, right? when you go into a lot of hotels now in Miami, you will not see a live person there. They're using a kiosk to check in people, to check out people, right? And the people, the kiosk that they're using is the people are from India. So when you get to the hotel, you'll go up to the kiosk and, you know, I guess push whatever, and you will get a live agent, but they will be from India. And it was saying that, you know, because of, you know, they worry about staff shortages and of course cost, you know, they think that this is gonna work out very well. So I don't know if this is just a trial run right now or not.
Okay.
Yeah. So you will sign your, you know, the check-in paper, all of that on the kiosk.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I
And
don't see that working.
sir,
I don't see that working.
I know, right?
Okay.
I know. And another thing that I ran across, because I'm always searching something within health, right, was that this company has came out with breast milk ice cream. And
What?
yes, breast milk ice cream. And they are it's a company based in New York. It's they partner with someone else. I think it's called Frida, Frida. And Frida, if you don't know about Frida, they are they promote and make a lot of baby products. So they partnered with Odd Fellows, a company out of New York, and they came up with this breast milk ice cream, and it's like $13 for I think it was a pint or something like that. Is $13, but they're saying that it has all the nutrients as regular breast milk, which I don't see that. And when I on my research on that, Brother Leonard, believe it or not, it's a lot of celebrities in Hollywood, that shouldn't be hard to believe, that uses breast milk in their coffee.
Okay.
They have a bank where you can go and sell your breast milk.
Okay.
And I want to say it was out of California, New York, and it was somewhere else. It was three places in the U.S. that where you could go and sell your breast milk. So I don't know how this is gonna go, but I go back and I think about us as Hebrew Israelite women when we were used to breastfeed their children, right, and taken away from ours. And I done a reading on that. It's been a little while. They called it liquid gold. And it's where the black female slaves had to breastfeed the white babies because the white females, you know, wanted to stay looking good or whatever. I just think that they was just lazy. You know what I'm saying? And plus, our breast milk had a lot of nutrients.
Right.
And
they knew that.
Yeah, they knew that exactly. And they made sure that the black women slaves were pregnant during the same time of the white slaves, so that they would have plenty of breast milk to supply to their children. But, you know, of course, we had to neglect ours, you know. And it always says, we read this in Exodus, and we read this so many times, where the Hebrew women are lively. They were not like the Egyptian women. So again, I just think that they're always taking something that is just naturally given and just turning it into something evil, because that's just what they do. They stay in the lab, you know, to stay looking young and so forth.
Right. Yeah. And then you got, when you understand who Esau is, he knows right where to go to exploit people. What's out there that's happening that he can exploit. So when you look at the abortions, right? Who having all abortions? A lot of the black women having abortions, right?
Yes,
Well,
sir.
the body still generate the breast milk, don't it?
Yes, sir.
So there you go. You got a place you can go get some money for your breast milk. Ain't that something?
Yeah, it's just like the blood bank. It's
Yeah,
just that
it's like the
simple.
blood bank.
Hmm.
On Esau would be that diabolical to peep that out. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anybody have any feedback on any of that? Anybody got anything else they want to share?
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone.
Shalom, everyone. Um, they were talking about biometric in wearables. And that's like the watches that some people have that does the walking and tell their heart rate. Um, or anything like you holding your phone, you can have that to monitor how your health is. And they're saying that everything's going biometric. Um, Mexico is saying they're going to do total biometric, and that's less trips to the doctor where you would be basically monitored with these here electronic devices, and as they be placing things in the arms and um, other parts of the body, so they can tell where you are and how you're feeling and things like that. That's one thing they were speaking on. Um, it was on YouTube. Um, I didn't write down I'll go back to it and write it, and I'll give you the title that was talking about it.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes. Uh, I was thinking exactly of what you and Michelle were talking about, the blood banks, as she was mentioning. Um, Apparently this breast milk bank now that's going to be a thing. Um, that has always frustrated me, and I know people get to a point where they may need money, and I also know it's not only Israelites. However, it frustrates me because as in the readings that we've been going through on the reading through the Tanakh, blood has the life in it, and it's just so valuable. And to know that sometimes somebody's getting 50, maybe even up to 70 or $80, but that same amount of blood is, when they scan that pack of blood in the hospital, it's going for more than twice of that, more than 10 times. Um, and that's what I see. I see like people being used for something that is, they're getting chump change basically for something that's going to be a high dollar value in the end. Um, and that's frustrating. Um, that that is just very frustrating. uh, to hear that they're even using breast milk in that manner, and just to know that there are some people, including Israelites, that may say this will be a quick way to get some money. And I hope it doesn't come down to that. Um, I feel sick knowing that they have enough to even start a company to make ice cream to start selling. That is just wow.
Right. But when you go back to paganism and go back to history, they've been dealing with that breast milk for a long time. So with it's tied to their rituals, to their satanic rituals, um, using the breast milk. Yeah. So it's not. Yeah, it's also tied to what we see with the abduction of the children. All that's tied together. Okay. Yeah. So anybody else got anything else?
Yes, sir. I I just wanted to say, for anybody that's listening on the YouTube channel that's tuned in, I know that some of this stuff um, can sound fetched. Um, I How do I put this? What I went to school for, I'll put it that way. When I'm educated in, none of this stuff is far fetched. I know some of you all on here may know about HeLa cells that were taken from Henrietta Lack back in 1940 or 50, whenever. Um, I was sick when I found out that's where those cells came from. imagine working in a research lab, knowing that these cells came from somebody who her and her family had no way. For clarification, Henrietta Lack was a African-American that died with cancer, and she never knew they took her cervical cancer cells. And I can tell you right now, they're in the lab, in every lab, everybody's using them. So her body parts have been used for years, even though she's been dead for years. There was this whole thing about when the pandemic was a thing and people were to get COVID vaccinations. There was this whole thing about this conspiracy theory that was just a rumor about 5G coming out, and it was a way to take over people's bodies. I can say firsthand in the lab, that's how we made mutated creatures. If we wanted to experiment and see how this medicine or this muscle or whatever may or may not work, it was small little cells with small ribonucleic acid, but not mRNA. It was DNA, it was RNA, and we would put it in the cells with a small electric shock, and the cells would be okay. That's a main reason why I didn't get I could have got fired, and I didn't. Praise the Most High. If you hear us say things on here, it's not far-fetched. Some of these things, I think people think it's all just AI and it's all just made up to be something entertaining, but this stuff is real. And quite honestly, some of the people behind this stuff is sick. I know people do things with good intentions, but yeah, I can believe the breast milk thing. Seen a lot of stuff I've seen at the bench top and in healthcare. I could believe that. I don't think it's far off, you know, and it's really just sick.
Okay. Anybody else got anything? Okay, here we go. I'm gonna play this here and then we go deal with our topic for discussion. I thought this is pretty interesting. Let me get it. Here we go.
Witness will challenge everything you thought you knew about modern African leadership. In an unprecedented ceremony that shocked the international community, traditional kings from across the continent gathered in Ouagadougou to bestow upon Ibrahim Traoré a title that no president has received in over a century. But what led to this historic moment? And what secrets were revealed during this sacred gathering that even Traoré himself didn't expect? The answer lies in a story so extraordinary that it reads like ancient prophecy meeting modern reality. The first light of dawn was breaking over the presidential palace in Ouagadougou when something unprecedented occurred. A messenger, dressed in traditional white robes and carrying an ornate wooden staff, approached the main gates. The palace guards, accustomed to diplomatic protocols and official correspondence, had never seen anything quite like this. The man's presence commanded respect, though he carried no modern credentials or official papers. "I bring a message for President Ibrahim Traoré," the messenger announced in perfect French, though his accent carried the weight of ancient traditions. "From the Council of Seven Crowns." Within minutes, the unusual visitor was escorted to the palace's reception hall. Ibrahim Traoré, despite his youth and military background, had always maintained deep respect for traditional customs. When he entered the room, the messenger bowed slightly and presented a scroll wrapped in leopard skin, a material that immediately caught Traoré's attention, as it was traditionally reserved for royalty. As Traoré carefully unwrapped the scroll, his hands trembled slightly. The parchment was old, genuine, and bore 7 distinct royal seals. Each seal represented kingdoms that most people believed had been dissolved by colonial powers decades ago. The message was written in both French and ancient symbols that seemed to pulse with significance. To Ibrahim Traoré, son of Burkina Faso, defender of African sovereignty, the scroll began. "The time has come for the true leader to be recognized. For 3 years, the Council of Seven Crowns has observed your leadership, your rejection of foreign puppetry, and your commitment to the liberation of our continent. We invoke the ancient right of continental recognition. You are summoned to receive what is rightfully yours. The message was signed by 7 names that made Trory's heart race: the Asanahin of Ghana, the Kabaka of Boganda, the Masai Elder Council, the descendant of Shaka Zulu, the heir to the Songhai Empire, the representative of the ancient kingdoms of Mali, and most surprisingly, a signature from the Ethiopian imperial line. Trory read the scroll 3 times, each reading revealing new layers of meaning. These weren't just ceremonial titles. These were bloodlines that had resisted colonization, preserved ancient wisdom, and maintained secret networks across Africa for generations. The fact that they had been watching him, evaluating him, felt both humbling and overwhelming. When is this ceremony to take place? Trory asked the messenger. In 7 days, at the hour when the moon reaches its zenith, the messenger replied. The sacred grove outside Ouagadougou has been prepared. This gathering hasn't occurred in over 2 centuries, Excellence. The kings come not to honor a politician, but to recognize a leader whose spirit carries the fire of our ancestors. After the messenger departed, Trory sat alone in his office, staring at the scroll. His military training had taught him to analyze threats and opportunities, but this defied conventional analysis.
Okay, so what do you think? So you want to watch that? It's African kings gathering in Ouagadougou to crown Ibrahim Touré. So notice there's 7 of them. So yeah. Okay. Anyway, with that being said, we're gonna go to our topic for discussion, right? We're gonna play it and then we'll get some feedback. So you see what's happening, right? So
a silent earth
should be expecting this.
Quake in the Constitution. While most Americans were glued to political headlines, courtroom drama, and culture wars, a quiet but powerful event unfolded inside the marble halls of the Supreme Court. In a rare moment of total agreement, the justices issued a 9-0 unanimous decision, not on a technicality or minor regulation, but on a fundamental question that strikes at the heart of personal freedom. This ruling doesn't shout about the Second Amendment, but if you carry a firearm, own one, or simply care about how far government force can go, this decision changes everything. The case Barnes versus Felix centered on a police shooting, but the court's opinion reached far beyond one tragedy. It redefined how the Fourth Amendment protects you from excessive force and unconstitutional seizures. And here's the critical twist. This wasn't just a correction. It was a complete rejection of the way lower courts have handled these cases for years. The ruling demands a new standard, a deeper one that considers the full context of an incident, not just the split second when a weapon is drawn. So why should gun owners care? Because this changes how every armed citizen might be treated in a traffic stop, during a home visit, or while simply exercising their rights. The rules of engagement have shifted and they now lean toward accountability. In this episode of Survival Firearms, we're cutting through the legal fog to bring you the clear truth, what the justices ruled and why it matters, how this affects self-defense cases and concealed carriers, and what every responsible gun owner must understand going forward. Let's break down this ruling step by step. Chapter 1. The story of Barnes versus Felix. At the center of the case is a tragic and fast-moving confrontation. An officer, Robert Felix Jr., conducted a traffic stop on a man named Ashton Barnes, who was suspected of toll violations. Things escalated quickly. The officer asked Barnes to exit the vehicle. Barnes opened the door and initially complied, but then, in a sudden move, attempted to drive away. Officer Felix, acting instinctively, jumped onto the vehicle's door ledge. Within 2 seconds, he fired 2 shots into the car. Barnes was hit and fatally wounded. The entire event from vehicle movement to fatal shot lasted around 5 seconds. In the aftermath, Barnes's mother sued Officer Felix, arguing that her son's Fourth Amendment rights had been violated by the use of excessive force.
The question was this: did Officer Felix act lawfully in that instant of perceived threat? And more importantly, what legal standards should courts use to decide that? Chapter 2, the moment of threat standard. Lower courts, especially the Fifth Circuit, had long applied something called the moment of threat rule. This means courts only evaluate the officer's actions at the exact moment of force, not what led up to it, not what happened afterward. So if the officer felt threatened in that split second, the shooting was justified. Period. That's what happened here. Both the district court and the Fifth Circuit sided with Officer Felix, saying the 2 seconds where he clung to the car while it moved justified deadly force. But this narrow focus had a problem. Context was ignored. What led to the officer stepping onto the car? Could the situation have been de-escalated earlier? Were Barnes's earlier actions actually dangerous or misunderstood? Those questions were off limits under the moment of threat approach. And that's what the Supreme Court found troubling. Chapter 3, the Supreme Court's rejection of narrow analysis. In a 9-0 decision, written by Justice Elena Kagan, the court rejected the moment of threat doctrine. Instead, the justices ruled that excessive force cases under the Fourth Amendment must be evaluated based on the totality of circumstances. That means the entire interaction is relevant. Officers' decisions leading up to the use of force matter, and courts must weigh whether the force used was objectively reasonable from the perspective of a reasonable officer at the scene, not in hindsight. The opinion emphasized the totality of the circumstances inquiry has no time limit. Earlier facts may show why an officer would view ambiguous conduct as threatening or as harmless. In short, context matters. This sets a new precedent for how excessive force is evaluated, and that affects every interaction between police and citizens nationwide.
Okay.
This case is reshaped.
Any comments on that? What do you think?
Shalom.
This happened today.
Sir?
This happened today.
Yes, sir. So he was getting away. So what happened, as they were saying, the cop came after him. So his threat, the cop put himself in harm's way by jumping onto the vehicle versus letting the vehicle go, and the guy goes off. So he put himself in harm's way and then say that he was, and he shot the guy. So he put himself in harm's way, and I think they should have ruled that excessive force because he put himself in that position versus letting the car go. And that's how I looked at it.
Okay. Why do you think they're making these decisions all of a sudden, and then they go nine to unanimous decision on it? Why all of a sudden change this right now? Anybody got any feedback on that?
Shalom. So, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like the justice system, I really don't have any faith in it because I don't really think it was originally set up around defending people of color in the first place. I think the reason why they are changing or trying to make these changes because they just want another reason to be able to kill somebody of color, saying they felt threatened in the moment. So that's why they did it when they've been doing it all along, so and getting away with it. So that's my opinion about it.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, shalom. So, because of ICE now, getting these people, rounding them up, they can use this as an excuse to eliminate people. And right now, they're trying to arrest people that they call indoctrinated or immigrants and things like that. So they, they're using it as a justifying shooting. So by having all 9 of them on the Supreme Court, every last one of them saying yes, it shows that now it gives and not all policemen are bad. but give them the right to, you know, put themselves in harm's way just to shoot someone.
Okay, so look at what's happening. Look at what's happening with the African passport and the response that's happening. A bunch of us leaving here. So that goes back to take me back to Pastor Manning, but not only that, to the King Alpha plan and what Trump just said, that he need to stop it, what he's doing, because he's taking our workforce, taking America's workforce away from them. So when you go back, if you haven't watched it, go watch the King Alpha plan. It's a certain point in our history with us that he says that it's going to get to that point where they have to go into the emergency. So if they got to go into the emergency, that means that the Supreme Court is backing it. They're changing these laws all of a sudden to back what these people doing. There's no other way for them to stop us from leaving, but go into the emergency. Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? So like I said, if you haven't watched the King Alpha plan, go watch it. Okay. Anyway, so with that being said, we go into so I was going to read out the book of Jasher. I was going to read chapters 3 and break it down. Okay. It's pertaining to Enoch. Okay. So I'm in chapter 3 of the book of Jasher. It says, Enoch lived 65 years and he got Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God, and having begot Methuselah, and he served the Lord, and he despised evil ways of men. And the soul of Enoch was wrapped up in the instructions of the Lord, in knowledge and in understanding. And he wisely retired from the sons of men and secreted himself from them for many days. And it was at the expiration of many years, while he was serving the Lord and praying before him in his house, that an angel of the Lord called to him from heaven. And he said, here I am. Here I am. So right here, I want to shine light on this. So when Abraham was getting ready to sacrifice Isaac, and he raised the knife to sacrifice Isaac, who called to him from heaven? Who stopped him from sacrificing Isaac?
The Lord of hosts?
Michael. Scripture say Michael. So who do you think this is? Read it again, verse 3. And it was at the expiration of many years, while Enoch was serving the Lord, praying before him in his house, that an angel of the Lord called to him from heaven. Same thing. And said, here, and he said, here I am. And he said, rise, go forth from thy house, and from the place where thou doest hide thyself, and appear to the sons of men, in order that thou mayest teach them the way in which they should go, and the work which they must accomplish to enter the ways of God. And Enoch rose up according to the words of the Lord, and went forth from his house, from his place, and from the chamber in which he was concealed. And he went to the sons of men and taught them the ways of the Lord. And at the time he assembled the sons of men and acquainted them with the instructions of the Lord. And he ordered it to be proclaimed in all the places where the sons of men dwell, saying, where is the man who wishes to know the ways of the Lord and good works? Let him come to Enoch. And all the sons of men being assembled unto him, for all who desired this thing went to Enoch. And Enoch reigned over the sons of men according to the word of the Lord. And they came and bowed to him, and they heard his word. So what I want to shine light on right here is and all the sons of verse chapter Jasher 3 and verse 7, and all the sons of men that assembled to him, for all who desire this thing went to Enoch. Then Enoch reigned, so he king. So what king? Melchizedek, king of righteousness. So I'm me thinking that this is where it started at. Melchizedek started right here. I think so. Okay, it says and they came and bowed to him, and they heard his words. And the Spirit of God was upon Enoch, and he taught all his men the wisdom of God and his ways. And the sons of men served the Lord all the days of Enoch, and they came to hear his wisdom. So this is where they get JC from right here. They got everybody coming to hear JC wisdom. Okay, it says, and all the kings of the sons of men, both first and last, together with their princes and judges, came to Enoch when they heard of his wisdom, and they bowed down to him, and they also required of Enoch to reign, to that king over them, to which he consented. And they assembled in all 130 kings, so these giants and princes, and they made Enoch king over them, and they were all under his power and command. And Enoch taught them wisdom, knowledge, and the ways of the Lord, and he made peace among them. So this is how we know they giants. And peace was throughout the earth during the life of Enoch. And Enoch reigned over the sons of men 243 years. And he did justice, righteousness with all his people, and he led them in the ways of the Lord. And these are the generations of Enoch, Methuselah, Elisha, Elimelech, three sons, and their sisters were Milcah and Naamah. And Methuselah lived 87 years, and he begot Lamech. And it was in the 56th year of the life of Lamech when Adam died. 930 years old was he at his death. And his two sons, with Enoch and Methuselah, his son, buried him with great pomp as the burial of kings in the cave which God had told him. And in that place, all the sons of men made a great mourning and weeping on account of Adam. It was therefore become a custom among the sons of men to this day. And Adam died because he ate of the tree of knowledge, he and his children after him, as the Lord God had spoken. And it was in the year of Adam's death, which was 243rd year of the reign of Enoch. In that time, Enoch reserved to separate himself from the sons of men and to secret himself as at first in order to serve the Lord. And Enoch did so, but did not entirely secret himself from them, but he kept away from the sons of men 3 days, and then went to them on one day. And according to the 3 days that he was in his chamber, he prayed to and praised the Lord his God. And the day on which he went and appeared to his subjects, he taught them the ways of the Lord, and all that they asked him about the Lord, he told them. And he did in this manner for many years. And he afterwards concealed himself for 6 days and appeared to his people one day in the seventh. And after that, once in a month, and then once in a year, until all the kings, princes, and sons of men sought for him and desired again to see the face of Enoch and to hear his words, but they could not, as all the sons of men were greatly afraid of Enoch, and they feared to approach him on account of the godlike awe that was seated upon his countenance. Therefore no man could look at him, fearing he might be punished and die. And all the kings and princes resolved to assemble the sons of men and to come to Enoch, thinking that they might all speak to him at the time when he should come forth among them, and they did so. And the day came when Enoch went forth, and they all assembled and came to him, and Enoch spoke to them the words of the Lord, and he taught them the wisdom and the knowledge. And they bowed down before him, and they said, May the king live. There you go. May the king live. May the king live. And sometime after, when the kings of princes and sons of men were speaking to Enoch, and Enoch was teaching them the ways of God, behold, an angel of the Lord being called unto Enoch from heaven, and wished to bring him up to heaven to make him reign there over the sons of God. And he had reigned as he had reigned over the sons of men upon the earth. And when at that time Enoch heard this, he went and assembled all his inhabitants of the earth and taught them wisdom and knowledge and gave them divine instructions. And he said unto them, I have been required to ascend into heaven. I therefore do not know the day of my going. And now therefore I will teach you wisdom and knowledge, and I will give you instruction before I leave you, how to act upon the earth, whereby you may live. And he did so. And he taught them wisdom and knowledge, gave them instructions, and he reproved them. And he placed before them statutes and judgments to do upon the earth. And he made peace among them. And he taught them everlasting life, and dwelt with them sometime, teaching them all these things. And at that time, the sons of men were with Enoch, and Enoch was speaking to them, and they lifted up their eyes, and the likeness of a great horse descended from the heavens, and the horse paced in the air. And they told Enoch what they had seen, and Enoch said to them, on my account does this horse descend upon the earth. The time is come when I must go from you, and I shall no more be seen by you. And the horse descended at the time and stood before Enoch, and all the sons of men that were with Enoch saw him. And Enoch then again ordered a voice to be proclaimed, saying, where is the man who delighted to know the ways of the Lord his God? Let him come this day to Enoch before he is taken from us. And all the sons of men assembled and came to Enoch that day, and all the kings of the earth with their princes and their counselors remained with him that day. And Enoch again taught the sons of men wisdom and knowledge, and gave them divine instructions. And he bade them serve the Lord and walk in his ways all days of their lives. And he continued to make peace among them. And it was after this that he rose up and rode upon a horse. And he went forth and all the sons of men went after him, about 800,000 men. And they went with him one day's journey. And the second day he came to them, return home to your tents. Why will you go? Perhaps you may die. And some of them went off from him, and those that remained went with him 6 days' journey. And Enoch said to them every day, return to your tents, lest ye may die. But they were not willing to return, and they went with him. And on the 6th day, some of the men remained and clung to him, and they said to him, we will go with thee to the place where thou goest. As the Lord liveth, death only shall separate us. And they urged so much to go with him that he ceased speaking to them, and they went after him and would not return. And when the kings returned, they caused a census to be taken in order to know the number of remaining men that went with Enoch. And it was upon the 7th day that Enoch ascended into heaven in a whirlwind with horses and chariots of fire. And on the 8th day, all the kings that had been with Enoch sent to bring back the number of men that were with Enoch in that place from which he ascended into heaven. And all the kings went to the place, and they found the earth there filled with snow, and upon the snow were large stones of snow. And one said to the other, come, let us break through the snow and see. Perhaps the men that remain with Enoch are dead, and are now under the stones of snow. And they searched and could not find him, for he had ascended into heaven. Okay, that was chapter 3 of the book of Enoch. Do anything in that little chapter ring a bell to anybody?
Shalom.
Okay.
So a lot of it, especially in the middle with the staying away and then teaching and then saying what the Lord, what the angel of the Lord told him that he would be going up to heaven. It sounds like Jesus in the New Testament.
Exactly. That's where it comes
Telling
from.
his disciples, I'm going to teach you, I'm
Right.
going to go up. And
Exactly.
even having, I can't remember what disciple it was, but some disciples say, you know, I'm with you till death. I'll even die for you.
Exactly. That's where they got it from right here. It was two angels when JC ascended in heaven. Two angels was in midair, and they watched him ascend up in the air. Same. This is where it comes from right here. And notice JC was supposed to be hidden from the beginning. That's what Enoch was doing. He was secreted from people. So that's where all that coming from. They just put a twist on it. Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? So we're gonna put the scripture.
Brother,
Okay, go ahead.
Shalom. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say, so basically, the majority of the Bible is plagiarized.
The New Testament plagiarized off the Old. That's how
Because
JC. That's how they get JC from the stories in the Old Testament. They formed him. They built him up by using stories and events that happened in the Old Testament.
But this what I don't understand. I don't understand. Um, with all these theologians and bishops and pastors and I mean, I can't even think of the other thing I was going to say, but title I was going to say, but how is it that we can see this, but they can't? They go to these schools, and study the Bible. How I'm just like, are they refusing to see these things that we see? We see so clearly, and they just don't see or refuse to see. That's the part I don't understand. You stand in front of a congregation and teach people things like that's basically plagiarized. I mean, I don't know no other way to say it.
Right.
And allegories and stuff is confusing people, and I
Right.
can see how it can, why some people would feel upset if you try to tell them something different. That's why I don't even try anymore, because they would defend they would they would defend the Bible to the end, like
Exactly.
it's the end all be all. And I mean, it causes conflict. I mean, even within my family, because I have a lot of um pastors and things like that, and evangelists in my family. And I mean, they stopped. I had one family member that stopped talking to me for an entire year, and I didn't want to hold no grudge against her when she finally came back around to try to, be in my presence. But I just feel like you should just stay away, because you can't change the way I feel. You can give me your opinion, but I
Yeah.
don't judge people because I know people that have different religions that I'm friends with or family members. I don't treat them no different.
Right.
They believe what they want to believe. But when somebody starts treating me different because they don't agree with something that I feel or I believe, I just feel like I'd rather them just stay away. It's my
Exactly.
personal opinion.
That's one of the major characteristics of a Christian, is that when you, especially when you can break it down and show them, that's when they get angry. But as long as they can keep confusion going, and you're not able to, rightly divide it or show them, that they're good. But when you come across somebody that can break it down and show it to you, that's when they have a problem. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, somebody gonna pick a scripture. They got a scripture, and we're gonna read it and break it down. Okay. Let's see.
Brother Leonard.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I forget what part of the Bible where it speaks about no weapon formed against me shall prosper.
Right.
But if that's something that we could touch on, considering the fact of all the things that Trump is doing to try to stop, he can try to form, the weapon, but it's not gonna prosper.
Right. Exactly.
So
Right.
that was just something.
Right. It goes back to I read it last night. Ezekiel 37. He says, "I spoke it, and I'm performed it. And I brought it to pass." So whatever the Lord of hosts has spoken, nothing else can supersede that. So no matter what they come up with, you're not gonna stop prophecy from what he's spoken, what he didn't prophesy. So that's how that goes. And even like I was saying before, what you just said, that's in the Old Testament. It's in the Psalms. Christians use it in the New Testament about no weapon formed against me, but it actually coming from out of the Old Testament, out of the Psalms. David said that. I'm gonna find it, then I'll give everybody the verse. But yeah, that's coming from something that was said in the Old Testament. The armor of God and all that's in Psalms with David. Yeah. Anybody else got anything before we go? Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. I see we got our men's advanced Bible study tomorrow night, so women can come in through YouTube. Other than that, I'll see everybody on morning Shabbat class. Shalom.
Thank you. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.